All right, today we're jumping into a really cool research paper. It's got a name that sounds less like a technical document and more like a productivity act. Talk structurally, act hierarchically. Let's find out what that's all about. So let's kick things off with a question that, might hit a little close to home for anyone who's ever worked on a team project. Why do even brilliant teams, and in this case we're talking about AI teams, get completely stuck in what are basically bad meetings? Well, here's the problem, visually laid out by the researchers. It's all about disorganized communication. A lot of current AI agent systems communicate like one giant chaotic group chat. Everybody's talking over each other, there's no structure, it's just a mess. And that messy process leads to, you guessed it, messy results. So that's the chaos we're dealing with. But what if we could just give them a better rule book, a smarter way to collaborate? And that's exactly what this paper proposes. The solution is called Talk Hire. It's a whole new framework built on this one really powerful two-part idea. You teach the AI agents to talk structurally and act hierarchically. So this is the after picture. This is Talk Hire's approach. Instead of that free-for-all group chat, we get a really organized communication protocol. And instead of chaotic, contradictory feedback, we get a clear hierarchy. Let's break down exactly what those two things mean. Okay, so part one, let's dig into that first principle, talking structurally. And you can immediately see the difference. On the one hand, you have the old way, this endless, messy stream of text. But with Talk Hire, communication is forced into a very neat, well-organized protocol. It's not just about what the AIs are saying, it's about the structure they have to say it in. And here's the genius of it. Every single time one AI talks to another, it's called a communication event, and it has to have these three parts. First, the message. That's the actual clear instructions. Then, the background. This is all the shared context so everybody's on the same page. And finally, the intermediate output, which is basically the AI's version of showing your work so everyone can see the thought process. So how do you actually enforce this? Well, the secret sauce is in the prompt itself. Take a look at this template. This is straight from the paper. The supervisor agent is forced to fill out these specific fields for its thoughts, who it's talking to next, the message, the background. It makes rambling literally impossible. There's just no room for it. Okay, so that covers how the agents talk. Now let's get into the second piece of the puzzle, how they act hierarchically. Right, the other big problem is what the paper calls feedback chaos. You see it on the left here. In a flat system, everyone just shouts their opinion at once. You get conflicting advice, some voices get ignored, others are too loud. Talk Hire's solution is, again, beautifully simple. Just organize the agents into a clear hierarchy. It's all about managing the flow. And here's what that hierarchy actually looks like. I mean, just think of a company org chart. It makes perfect sense. You've got a main supervisor at the top, and they manage specialized agents, like one to generate ideas and one to revise the work. But the really clever bit is this evaluation team, which has its own supervisor to collect and synthesize all the feedback before it ever gets sent up the chain. This whole structure creates this really clean, elegant workflow. So, step one, the main supervisor assigns the task. Step two, the team of evaluators all give their specific feedback. Now, step three is the crucial part. Their supervisor takes all that feedback and distills it into one single coherent report. Then, step four, the revisor agent improves the work based on that one clear directive. And step five, you just keep that loop going until the work is good enough. It's just a super smart and powerful system. So the idea is fantastic. It's elegant, it makes sense. But the real question is, does it actually work in practice? Let's see what the numbers say. And honestly, the results are pretty jaw-dropping. This is the MMLU benchmark, which is a famously difficult test of expert-level reasoning. And look at this. Talk Hire hits nearly 88.4% accuracy. It's not just a little bit better, it is blowing past other top-tier frameworks like Agentverse and even some sophisticated GPT-4o setups. Let's just put a number on that. We're talking about a more than 5.5% gain in accuracy over the next best thing on this incredibly hard test. In the world of AI, that is a huge leap forward. And it's not just a one-trick pony for multiple-choice questions. When you look at more open-ended tasks like writing, Talk Higher wins again. It scores higher on both Rouge 1, which is kind of about word choice, and BERT score, which is about whether the text actually makes sense semantically. So, put simply, it writes better, more human-like stuff. And this flexibility carries over into real-world creative work too. For example, when they tested it on generating ad copy for a camera, Talkhire consistently came up with text that was more convincing and more accurate than its rivals. So, let's zoom out and put a bow on this. What are the big takeaways here, and why should we care about this for the future of AI? I think the researchers said it perfectly in their own conclusion. They wrote, Talk here sets a new standard for managing complex multi-agent interactions. And that's exactly right. This isn't just a minor tweak. It feels like a whole new playbook for how to get AIs to work together effectively. So if you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. First, when it comes to AI communication, structure flat out beats chaos every time. Second, hierarchy isn't about being bossy. It's a tool to prevent feedback overload and bias. And third, when you put those 2 ideas together, you get AI systems that are just way more reliable, more accurate, and more adaptable. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. If we can make AI so much better at teamwork by basically teaching them the best parts of how humans organize, what could they, in turn, eventually teach us about working together? Look, if you enjoyed this kind of deep dive, a brutally efficient explainer that respects your time and actually gets to the point, then you're in the right place. We thought so. You're watching Vibe Doc, and this is what we do. So go on, hit that subscribe button. We think you'll agree. It is by far the most logical, hierarchical, and structurally sound decision you are going to make all day. Thanks for your time.